Hello and namaste, my dear sisters and brothers in aliveness. Thank you for tuning in. I've got some things I want to talk about, as we all do, right? Social media, self-expression. And this may feel a bit, woe is me, first world problem. Pin on the corkboard. We talked about that in length in the behind the scenes B-side long-form video. Come check it out. And it's true, I'll admit it. That was me, first world problem. But there's things I want to share and that I feel inspired to talk about after having made the last short form video that I made. So thank you for joining me. Let's take a moment to cleanse the palate, shall we? Let's take a deep breath together. Please and thank you. All right. Forgive me for this self-indulgence, but I am at crossroads where I feel both inspired to make content and extremely wary or cautious and sort of incapable of making content. And simultaneously in awe of everyone and anyone's out there that I'm seeing continue to make content that is also awesome and funny and hilarious or meaningful or moving or powerful to me. And I'm sure there must be other people out there that are feeling that way. And that's what this little video is about. And that's also what the office hours on the B-side long-form video is about. So pin on the corkboard. This is an experimental process, and I'm inviting you to join me. Please, I don't have a way to drop the link now as I'm talking, but please do find the longer version of the behind the scenes of me making this video to join us in a deeper discussion. There's a couple of things I want to hit, and I'm going to pause right now to sort of open up the office hours discussion, and hopefully we'll get some people over there live. Maybe not today, but as we move forward and do this more often, hopefully an audience will gather and we can sort of do both things at once. If it makes sense, I'm glad you're joining along. If it doesn't, forgive me. It'll hopefully make sense in a hot minute. I sincerely want to take a moment to say bravo, bravo, bravo to everyone out there who has impacted me through their content. Whether it was something funny that genuinely made me laugh, something inspiring that genuinely moved me in an upward, uplifting direction, something intellectually alarming that brought a concern or a need of something that needs to be discussed or thought about to my attention. As far as the ecosystem of platforms go, TikTok is sort of a home base for me now, which I didn't really plan. But there's a bunch of videos there. And if you're watching this on TikTok, you can just click on over on the repost tab right now if you want to catch up to the most recent ones. And if you're not on TikTok but are down to come visit, I humbly invite you. Not just to see my own TikTok exclusive content that may or may not be cropping up there in the not too distant future, and or to catch up with the nonsense that I was doing exploring the platform when I first joined it, etc. But more specifically, and for the intent and purposes of this video that I'm making right now, the stuff on my repost or reblog tab. I'll wait, take a moment, make it happen. And then, I mean, you don't literally have to do it now, but I want to sort of pause the video anyway, so I'm just going to pause it on that thought. If you want to take a moment to go do that, feel free to pause this video that you're watching right now and navigate your way if you can. If you can't, don't worry. You can find me on a plethora of other social media platforms, and especially some of the newer, reliable, trustworthy ones that are short-form video-specific ones. And of course, I've got some old-school ones, like my YouTube channel, which I've been underutilizing for reasons that I don't understand, from to whence from hitherforth now on, all video content will be archived. So ultimately, that's the infinity archive, because that's the only platform that still works that way on the internet as far as I know. So let's pause for a second and then take a deep breath together and then proceed to talk about some of the madness and why I think it's important that we continue if we can, and why it's okay that if we can't, it's okay to step back and take a break and take a deep breath and take a purge from any of the things that you're doing, as long as you can keep, providing for yourself, etc., and all that. And as always, I humbly thank you for joining me. I'm going to take a moment to do that myself. A deep breath and a reorganization of my thoughts, because then I want to focus on a few things with the time I have left. Undeniable, the following statement. The human species has always been a species of storytellers and of audience that listens and engages. And as silly and as trite and as meaningless as that may or may not seem, there is a power and a value and a magicalness to that. And in the long form, pin on the corkboard, in the long form, behind the scenes, office hours chat about it, I'm going to go on a diatribe about that, and I'm going to invite you to come check that out. Because it's central to everything, but I need to talk about other things before we run out of time. And that's how these weird videos are going to work. So please, I humbly invite you, and I humbly ask for your patience as we jump to a completely different, but totally interconnected point in my little constellation of things I'm trying to cram into this video before I run out of time. I'm sure I'm not alone in feeling deeply conflicted about wanting to do X, Y, and Z, a cacophony of way too many things at once, from playing video games live on a stream because someone told me that you can make money doing that way, and is that a crazy thing to do to make money? I don't know. Is it? Plenty of other people are doing really crazy, ridiculous things that I would never do to make money, and everyone needs to make money. Pin on the corkboard, there's been a lot of discourse about that, both in my podcast and in the content creators that I reference. But there's so many things crashing together at once, and I try not to completely get derailed. But times are strange, to say the least. And someone's video, a pair of different videos recently sort of triggered me. And then combined with the sentiment that I needed to express in my previous video here on this and most other platforms, combined together into and here we are. Forgive me. But we need storytelling of all kind. We need to be able to laugh. I need to be able to laugh. We need to be able to then focus on what's going on and talk about it with authenticity and sincerity and civility and calmness. And we need to explore our questions, right? The questions that we're asking and the questions that are not being asked. There's so much going on at once that it's impossible. It's impossible, right? From the multitude of different conflicts that is an impossible to comprehend number of nearly 60. Of 60 wars going on in the world. How do we not call this World War V or whatever, right? And I don't know, is that a term that... Erase. No. Pin on the corkboard. That's a whole theme in the book series. In the future, how that just perpetuates itself and goes on and is hyper-normalized and is now a vibrant part of our global economy. Meanwhile, human suffering and the question of what to do about it and the irony of the thing that personally here, right now, in the present moment, that frustrates me and that worries me, we're going to experience a repetition of history now, and that we might experience repetition of history in the future. And that's the complete and total inversion of a system that is supposed to be about one thing, turning it into another for the purposes of targeting humans as individuals and as targeted groups so that they may be dehumanized and devalued and objectified and treated without dignity. And ironically, for better or worse, the folks doing so are doing so in the name of a guy that preached the opposite. This really chaps my hide. And if you're not new to my content, you may have noticed I've already mouthed off. I've already